Hey everyone, Patrick here. So I'm just going to see, is the dolly effect that Stuart Carroll talks about in Drone Film School as easy as he says in his tutorial? So what I have done here is I have put together 4 clips that I think might work, and let's just work through them. Now they're not perfect in as much as I wasn't thinking about this dolly effect when I was filming them, but as he says in his tutorial, if you have a background and a foreground, well then it should work. So I've picked out 4 clips and we'll see if it works. So the first thing that he says to do is to copy them and then paste it in. So we'll do that for that one. And then this one, actually, because it's going the opposite way, I'm actually going to reverse that clip. And let me see, reverse the clip. And likewise with this end one, I'll have to do the same. I'll reverse that clip. This end one is a little bit long, so I'm also going to speed it up by 2. So it's going out and it's going out. Alright, so we're back to this. Then we copy that one, Control C, pop it at the end, Control V. This one also Control C, then Control V. This one also Control C, and then Control V. The reason why he recommends that you do that is just so as you can see the size of the end clip, which is important whenever you have to scale it. So you select the clip in question, move your cursor to the end where you want that to be, and then of course we scale it up to what we think is roughly the amount. Okay, so I see it that there's not much difference, a little bit more. Does that look about right? Yeah, size-wise that looks good. So we scale it, we add a keyframe, then we know that it's not great, so we bring it back. Nothing has really changed. We bring it back to the beginning, and then we put this to 100 and enter that, and that should be it. Okay, so we let that just render out. We delete this one because we're now finished with it. And as that's rendering out, we'll move on to the second one. Again, we go to the end of the clip. We highlight it. We scale it up to what we think it is roughly. It's too big. Big, small, so just a tad smaller. Leave it at 165. See what that looks like. So it's just a little bit smaller. 160, 155. It's about right. So highlight this one. We have it highlighted, 155. Add our keyframe. Go back to the beginning of the clip and bring it back to 0. Sorry, to 100. That should be it. Okay, we get rid of this one. Now we're on to our third clip. So again, we're seeing it. So highlight it, go to the end of the clip. These are all the things which he mentions to us in the drone film guide video on the dolly effect, which I'll leave the original tutorial below. But for someone like me who's very much a novice editor, it's just a question of saying, can I do this clip? Because if I can do it, then you can do it. That simple. So far we have one done, then we have the second one done. We'll see all these at the end anyway, because they are just rendering in the background there. So again, the first thing is to highlight the clip, put the cursor at the end, scale it up to what you think it should be roughly. Let's see if that's still a little bit to go. A little bit more. We'll make this clip a little bit bigger. Okay, sorry, I have to add in the keyframe on this one. Then we bring it back to the beginning. Move it to 0. Done. And there we have our effect. Okay, so we can delete that. Boom. Now we're on to our last one. So it's supposed to be around that height. So again, clip over to the end. You know what height it should be. Come over, scale it up. I think it's about that. Just to come a little bit more. Really, it's only going to be as far as there. Alright, add our keyframe, bring it back to 0. See how that looks. Delete it, let it render out for a moment. Okay, let's see. That warping sensation looks pretty good. Interesting. Okay, so now we need to color correct these slightly, so we'll just go into the color board. Again, we will do it as best we know just with the basics. Command 7 will bring up the histogram. Let's see the histogram coming in, and then we can start to analyze it. We go to the exposure for now. We'll bring the blacks back to 100 roughly, which is here, and then we'll also bring these out to 100, and then we can bring the mid-tones down a little bit. Saturation we can bring up slightly. That will give it a bit more of a kick. Likewise in this one, go back to the exposure. We want these to be at 100, to be at the full black and the full white. So we'll bring it back to roughly there. Bring these over to 100, which is here, and then the mid-tones, we'll just bring them back slightly into the middle, and the saturation we'll just add a little bit just to give it a little bit of punch. And looks about right there. Again, this is very, very quick, but it's enough to tidy it up. This one needs a lot of work, so we'll bring that back. We'll bring these over to 100. We'll definitely raise the whole mid-tones right into it. And for saturation, we'll just saturate a little bit. It's already pretty black, pretty bright. Likewise here, we'll go back to the exposure. We'll see our histogram. We need to bring it back a little. That's about right. The whites, we bring them over too. And then the midtones, we'll just tidy them. They would have needed to come back a little in this direction. And then saturation, we can raise it a little. Okay, we'll let that render out now and we'll see how that looks. Okay, so basically, well, we'll get rid of the histogram again, which is Command 7, and now we shall take a look at the whole fact. Definitely gives that warped effect. I like it. There were some things here. Z, just bring it in there. There seemed to be a little glitch there. There it is there. We'll delete that. Any more? Yeah, there's one there too. Boom. Alright, Shift Z gives it all back into perspective. So that is our dolly effect as explained to us by Drone Film School and Stuart Carroll. And now what I will do is I'll add a little bit of music to this just to give it a little bit of effect. So we'll head into our epidemic sound, which I'm not going to spend too much time choosing music. We'll go for something cinematic. Let's check this one out. I think that bit at the end will work. Download that. Pop it up here. Say no more. Quit that. It normally takes me hours to decide on my music, so we'll not have to worry about that today. And let's create here. We'll just pop it into another event, which is the music. Bring that in, pop it in there. It was from around here, wasn't it? I like the way that little... Aye. Love that, love the way that starts there. So let's see what it... A little bit too saturated there. I'll bring that down a wee bit. Perfect. That'll do. B. Cut that off. A. Delete it. Delete that. And that's our dolly effect finished. Simple. I hope you've liked my attempt to do that. Obviously the shots initially weren't created with the idea of doing this dolly shot, but I've gone over some past footage and I like the 4 that I have come up with, so I will just put them on. I might just work a little tiny bit more on it before I sign off, and then I'll clip on to the end of it the final version. I hope you've liked this little tutorial, which ultimately proves that Stuart Carroll with his tutorials is very good at explaining to people like me I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you again. Bye bye. Here comes the clip.